You've been doing the work. You're reading Marcus Aurelius. You're trying to practice the dichotomy of control, but a nagging feeling remains. There's a saboteur in your mind, and it's undoing all your hard-won peace. That saboteur is overthinking. You turn to Stoicism to find tranquility in a chaotic world, only to discover the chaos was coming from inside the house. It's a frustrating paradox, isn't it? Trying to use your mind to quiet your mind and finding it's the very thing getting in the way. If you feel this way, you're in good company. The ancient Stoics knew all about the mind's ability to create its own prisons. Nearly 2,000 years ago, Seneca wrote, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." That's the heart of overthinking a war fought against ghosts and what-ifs. So, how do we stop fighting a war in our heads? First, we need to understand the enemy. We're going to break down exactly how overthinking unravels the fabric of a Stoic life. Then, we'll arm you with 6 ancient, powerful Stoic strategies to quiet the noise and finally find the clarity you've been searching for. Section 1. The Anatomy of Sabotage. How overthinking corrupts your Stoic practice. Before we can build a defense, we have to understand the attack. Overthinking isn't just a quirky habit. It's a direct challenge to the core principles of Stoicism. Think of it like a poison, slowly seeping into your practice and turning your quest for peace into a source of anxiety. Here are the 3 main ways it works. First, and most importantly, overthinking goes completely against the grain of the dichotomy of control. This is the bedrock of Stoicism, separating what we control from what we don't. Epictetus put it simply, our choices, our judgments, our actions, those are ours. Everything else, the past, the future, what other people think, the final outcome of our efforts that's not up to us. Overthinking is the act of obsessing over the things we can't control. When you replay a mistake from last week, you're living in a past you can't change. When you spiral into 100 what-if scenarios, you're wrestling with a future that hasn't happened. This burns up your most precious resource, your attention. Instead of putting that energy toward virtuous action right now, you're wasting it in the phantom worlds of yesterday and tomorrow. It leaves you exhausted, crushed by burdens you were never meant to carry. Second, overthinking shatters your mindfulness and emotional calm. A key Stoic practice is to observe your thoughts as just impressions. The goal is to create a little bit of space between a thought popping into your head and your decision to believe it. In that space, you find the power to choose a rational response over a knee-jerk reaction. Overthinking slams the door on that space. It takes a spark of doubt or a flicker of worry and immediately treats it as fact, fanning it into a wildfire of fear. These endless loops of worry make it impossible to stay calm and composed. Your mind becomes a stormy sea, and you're tossed around by waves of anxiety. This constant turmoil weakens your emotional resilience, making it even harder to deal with life's actual problems with the logic that Stoicism teaches. Third, overthinking poisons your decisions and your relationships. It shows up as paralysis by analysis. You get so scared of making the wrong choice that you end up making no choice at all, which, let's be honest, is usually the worst choice. This goes against the Stoic ideal of taking clear, purposeful action. This constant second-guessing destroys your trust in your own judgment, leading you to put off important decisions. In relationships, it's just as bad. Overthinking can make you constantly seek reassurance, which puts a strain on your connections. You might find yourself trying to guess what others are thinking, spinning stories in your head that create misunderstandings and distance. Instead of clear, honest communication, you get lost in a fog of your own assumptions. So you see, overthinking isn't a small flaw. It's a powerful force that pulls you away from the present, floods your mind with fear, and paralyzes your ability to live a good life. Section 2. The Stoics' Arsenal. 6 strategies to conquer overthinking. Now that we've seen how the saboteur works, it's time to fight back. The beautiful thing about Stoicism is that the philosophy itself provides the tools for the job. The same thinkers who saw the traps of the mind also built the keys to escape them. Here are 6 powerful, practical Stoic strategies to dismantle overthinking and reclaim your peace. Number 1. Use the dichotomy of control as your shield. This isn't just a fancy concept. It's a tool you need to use every single day. The next time you feel your mind start to spiral, just stop. Ask yourself the most powerful question in the Stoic toolkit. Is this within my control? And be brutally honest. The traffic jam you're stuck in? No. But your reaction to it putting on a podcast instead of hitting the steering wheel is, whether you get the job offer? No. But the effort you put into your resume and the interview? That's all you. Try this. Write down your worries. Sort them into 2 columns, control and no control. This simple act pulls the chaos out of your head and makes it manageable. Then, you have to practice letting go. Acknowledge the things in the no control column, and then mentally release them. Pour all that reclaimed energy into what you can do. Overthinking starves when you stop feeding it things you can't control. Number 2. Be an observer, not a participant. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." To do this, you have to learn to see your thoughts as separate from you. They aren't commands, they're just suggestions. Picture your mind as a clear sky. Your thoughts, especially the anxious ones, are just clouds passing by. You aren't the clouds. You are the sky. Your job isn't to fight the clouds, but to simply watch them drift, without judgment. When a thought like, "I'm going to ruin this presentation," shows up, don't argue with it. Just label it. There's a thought about failing. By observing it with a detached curiosity, you steal its power. You break the cycle of worry before it even starts. This non-judgmental awareness is your shield. It lets the noise pass by without disturbing your inner peace. Number 3. Practice the premeditatio malorum, premeditation of evils. This sounds wrong, right? If we want to stop overthinking, why would we intentionally think about bad things? But this Stoic technique is the antidote to anxiety, not the cause. Overthinking is fueled by vague, undefined fear. This practice drags that fear into the light. Here's how it works. Take a specific fear, like losing your job. Instead of letting it loom in the dark, face it. Ask yourself, what's the absolute worst that could happen? Maybe you struggle with money for a bit. You have to cut back on spending. Be specific. Then, ask the more important question. What would I do to handle it? You'd update your resume. You'd call your network. You'd apply for new jobs. You'd make a new budget. When you do this, 2 things happen. First, You realize the worst-case scenario is almost never as bad as your anxious mind imagines. And second, you realize you have the tools and resilience to handle it. You've turned a vague, paralyzing fear into a concrete problem with a plan. You've rehearsed for trouble, so you no longer have to dread it. And before we get to our next point, if you're finding this guide helpful, please consider subscribing. Your support allows us to create more content just like this to help you on your journey. Number 4, give your thoughts a deadline. Overthinking is really just a form of mental procrastination. You tell yourself you're just being thorough, but you're often just delaying the discomfort of making a decision. Seneca would call this a waste of our most valuable asset, time. The solution is simple but effective. Set a timer on your thoughts. For a small decision, give yourself 5 minutes. For a big one, maybe an hour or a day. In that time, gather your info and weigh your options. But when that timer goes off, you act. You make the best choice you can with what you know, and you move forward. This forces you to accept that you'll never have 100% certainty. The search for it is a trap that leads to inaction. The goal isn't to always make the perfect choice. It's to make a choice and trust yourself to handle what comes next. Number 5, practice voluntary discomfort. So much of our overthinking is driven by a fear of feeling bad, fear of failure, of embarrassment, of things just being hard. We spin our mental wheels trying to find a magical path where we never have to feel discomfort. Stoicism says to do the exact opposite. Build your resilience by choosing to be uncomfortable in small, safe ways. This doesn't have to be extreme. Take a cold shower. Go for a run when you feel lazy. Intentionally try something you know you'll be bad at. Every time you step out of your comfort zone, you're training your mind. You're proving to yourself, on a gut level, that you can handle hardship. You learn that discomfort isn't deadly. It's just a feeling, and you are stronger than it. This mental toughness becomes armor against anxiety. When you stop being afraid of discomfort, you have a lot less to overthink. Number 6, keep a journal for a rational conversation. The famous Meditations by Marcus Aurelius wasn't a book meant for us. It was his private journal. It was the tool he used to coach himself, examine his thoughts, and practice his philosophy. You should do the same. Every evening, take a few minutes to write down what's bothering you. Just getting the thoughts out of your head and onto the page can shrink them down to size. Then you can look at them with a critical eye. Ask yourself, is this thought based on reality? Or is it a story I'm telling myself? What's the evidence for this fear? What's the evidence against it? This is more than just venting. It's about becoming a student of your own mind. You'll start to see the patterns, the irrational beliefs that trigger your anxiety. And by seeing them, you can start to challenge and reframe them. You can replace worst-case fantasies with more realistic outcomes. Your journal becomes your private training ground for a more rational, peaceful, and stoic mind. Conclusion: overthinking is the saboteur that turns the path to a stoic life into an uphill climb. It pulls you away from the present, disrupts your peace, and paralyzes your will to act. But it is not a fight you have to lose. The very philosophy it undermines gives you the weapons to win. By using the dichotomy of control, observing your thoughts, preparing for challenges, setting deadlines on decisions, embracing discomfort, and reflecting in a journal, you can take back your mind. These aren't quick fixes. They are daily practices. But with consistent training, you can transform your mind from a battlefield into a fortress, a source of strength clarity, and unshakable peace. You can stop suffering in imagination and start living in reality. The power to do that has been in you all along. Which of these 6 strategies are you going to try first? Let us know in the comments below. Your journey starts with a single step. If you're ready to continue that journey, subscribe for more timeless wisdom. Thanks for watching.